All right. So, how are you feeling today?
Really good. It's rainy here in Atlanta, Georgia, but as they know in Atlanta, things will change. It's supposed to become the warmest day or the warmest days in Atlanta coming this week. So it's all good.
And so, as the deal maker, one of the things that I always talk about is how to make better deals.
Deal maker.
And
Okay.
yes, and with you understanding, you've made quite a few deals.
I get so many titles in my life. So Renaissance man, deal maker, baker. I get baker
Yes,
now. So I love
yes,
that. Manager.
yes.
My degree is in mathematics, and so my minor's in sociology. So I think the sociology side, I think, is what has really enabled me to, which is about understanding people, understanding patterns, has really enabled me to be the person that's able to negotiate deals and understand people and their habits. And so I think that's been a bigger asset in my life from an academic standpoint to become a person who understands deals. And deals is how you communicate with people. And if you
Yeah.
learn how to communicate with people, then you'll be able to cut deals where both sides win. I think that you never really want to be able you really never really want to shake somebody's hand that they're not happy about the deal that they close. It's the same with your house. Would you want to close on a house where you feel that you got over on the owner?
Oh,
Would you
that's true.
sleep comfortably in that house? No.
No.
So it's the same way with a deal. You want to make sure that you can sleep comfortable and wake up the next day feeling good about your life.
Now, you mentioned habits.
Yes.
So, what were some of the most successful habits that you mastered early on that help you in your deal making process now?
It's two things I always talk about. It's the two C's. C's. It's called consistency and communication. And consistency is being able to do something on a regular basis that people can count on. That means showing up for work, being true to what you say on when you do something, you do it like you're supposed to do it, and being able to communicate the task that they ask you to do, and then be able to finalize it based on the proper level of communication. So if you have a level of consistency and you know how to communicate, then it allows you to do deals and create positive and strong relationship. My career is really tied to those two things. I'm very consistent, even to the how I wake up. I wake up at 4:30 a.m. and people always say 4:30 a.m. Sometimes I say 4:30 a.m. It was just like this morning. I woke up at 4:15. I woke up at like at 3:45, and then 4:15 I went, get up. You up? What you gonna just sleep in bed till like 4:30? You up? You up? So my body is trained to the sense that it knows that this is what time we start to work. Because as soon as I open my eyes, my brain activates to start thinking about what I'm supposed to do for that day. Because what happens when I go to sleep, I always have my goals and expectations set in place. So when I wake up, I my brain is immediately activated to the task at hand. The problem that people do that's a mistake is that people just go to bed. And so that's why there's such a difficult nature in getting up because they don't have a plan of action. If you don't have a plan of action, then you will hit the snooze button. If you don't have a plan of action, then you'll complain about getting up. But when I get up, my eyes open up, I know what I have to do, which allows me to move forward in a positive and aggressive direction.
So, it sounds like you tapped into what I like to call burning desire.
I don't know if it's burning desire, but that's a good phrase to talk about. I think that it's about understanding your task at hand. We have to be task oriented. We have to be goal oriented. We have a lot of dreamers out there. But if you're not a dreamer that understands that it has to be tied to a goal, because you have a lot of people talk about jumping out on faith or going out on faith. Well, that faith, it better have a plan associated with it. And so when you have a burning desire to achieve something, then it should be tied to a goal. If it's tied to a goal, then it should be able to resonate to a level of achievement that should make you happy and the people around you happy as well. Because happiness that is singular is not long-term happiness.
That's very true. So, what was your transition like? Because I know you were in corporate America, even
Mhm.
working with IBM. What was your transition like to take the bet on yourself? Because you said have a plan. Did you have that plan?
No, I did not have a plan. I just bet on. I was one of those idiots that went out there on faith. I didn't have a plan. I had a plan, but it wasn't thought out.
Mm-hmm.
It was that I just knew that where I was at was not going to lead to long-term happiness. And I was embarking in a business, the entertainment industry, where you don't have a plan. You just have a lot of hope that your abilities, it's a very competitive field, it's a very age associated field because in entertainment at any level, when you're younger, people pay more attention to you. And so as you get older, the opportunities for your success get smaller and smaller. So you should create a resume that allows you to be competitive as you get older. So I was going in a field that I was young at the time, so I felt I had that box checked. I was talented. I had that box checked. But how I was going to get famous, that box had the question mark, because in life, everyday life allows you to be able to have a better structure. If you it basically, if you go to college, and maybe depending on what level of college or trade school, 6 weeks or a year or 2 years or 4 years, you can get a degree. So that can be strategically planned out. But when you go into the entertainment business, does it mean you're going to be successful if you move to New York? Does it mean you're going to be successful if you move to LA? Does it mean you're going to be successful if you just travel around the country and build your brand and your reputation? No. What it is in the end is that you have to have a burning desire. I'm going to steal your phrase, to be able to get up and understand that that the next day could be your day. But if it becomes your day, you have to string together more of those days. And don't look at it like it's the lottery. And a lot of people make that mistake in life in general. Something good happens to them and they think that's it. And that's not necessarily the case. Even if you win the lottery, that's not it. You better have financial people around you. You better have where you're going to put the money. That's why so many people who win large lotteries bankrupt.
That's why I like to talk about the habits and the mindset, because, like you said, that could be the first thing to go when you finally get some success.
Well, that's true. And like, here's the funny thing about success. Success is funny because when you're young, I get to look back now. I'm 64 years old. I can get to look back. And I get to look back and, when I was 25, I get back when I was 30. But and when you start having success, can you sustain that success? Or can you elevate that success? That's the part that you're trying to achieve. When you look at a career of a Tom Hanks, look at the career of a Denzel Washington, whose son, John David Washington, he has to follow his father's footsteps. So he has to look at a path that could be like Mount Rushmore, and so where I'm at right now, and guess what? I'm still not satisfied. I still have other goals that I have in place that I got to go. I got to reach these goals because have certain things I want to achieve. And so my burning desire, my goal oriented self is tied to, being consistent through positive communication. And then we tie that faith that you have, or tie that aspiration you have, to a long term and short term plan. Because short term, which should be 90 days to 6 months, and then long term, 5 years to 10 years.
I was like, no one knows more about mastering, like putting together a plan and understanding. You brought up a keyword, pivot,
Hmm.
because that's how I feel like you've been able to stay relevant all this time. Like you just mentioned your age, but you've been consistent since the time you started.
Yes.
Back, like you said, you left IBM, went
Hmm.
into entertainment yourself, and
Hmm.
you've shown that same consistency, and that's allowed you to impact others.
Well, people tell me that a lot. They say, Rushion, what don't you do? This is what I would tell you honestly, is that I remember in August 9th, 1990, October 9th, 1990, I made a commitment. I wrote it on a little post-it to God. I said, God, look, if you allow me to maximize all my talent, I promise you I'll get 100%. I promise you I'll get 100%. And so what happens is that if I see an opening, I will go at it at 100%. And that level of commitment allows me to really master that, or have a clean understanding of that, and be successful at that. And so that's what people see in my career. Whether it was in college and IBM, I left a very successful person when I left IBM. When I was pursuing a career in stand-up comedy, I did Def Comedy Jam, I did BET, I owned a very successful comedy club. When I took my turn in acting, I performed in a very successful movie, Jason Lyrics, as Fast Freddy, the tap dancing guy. And then the hood really took him down. And so everything I've done, and then when it became management, I took Steve Harvey to heights. And now currently I'm fortunate to be managing somebody like a Stephen A. Smith, and also Creamalicious, which is executive chef Liz Rogers, and Jeff Jenkins and his own show that's tied to Nat Geo. And more people are coming to me now because I know my voice and I understand my voice. But when you look at that, I do get the title a lot of being a Renaissance man, and that being a Renaissance man, which I take that title with excitement because that means that I'm willing to maximize the opportunities that come my way. And when they come my way, I want to tell people that you can win. But two things that stop people: people stop themselves, and people allow age to stop them as well because somehow they feel that they're supposed to be at a certain place at a certain age, and that's not true.
Well, at least you came up in a place where people actually worked to prove the validity of what they were building. Now, in the world of social media, because you actually mentioned about fame, how does that pair in what a lot of people like? They can get viral and may not put in as much work, may not have the
Um,
execution.
I'm disagreeing with you. Uh, why can't you take advantage of technology? Come on now. Look, I grew up with rotary dial telephone. So you telling me that I didn't take advantage of people who grew up with a rotary dial telephone, then I went to push dial telephone, and then I went to iPhone. So I myself was moving forward. I went from the pager to the sidekick to the cell phone where you got unlimited dial unlimited time on the weekends or after 9 p.m. to 6 a.m. So, people who go viral, that doesn't mean they have longevity. There's so many ways you can make money. It's about making money. It's like, whether you are, look at it this way. Let's put it this way. Back in the day, Playboy magazines or Nudie, I'm just using this as an example. Magazine dominated because they had that's where you can only find that type of look of a woman. Now a woman controls her own look, and so those type of magazines are irrelevant now. They're irrelevant now because of the fact that women are now controlling how they want to be presented. And then you go, well, I don't need that magazine anymore. I don't need to see that because women have said, this is how I want to present myself, not like that. And so I always tell people is that it's allow social media is a wonderful thing. Is it a damning thing? Yes, it is because it can lead to overexposure. It can lead to people being being traumatized mentally because people control you. People can be very rude. People can be very evil on social media. But social media is a business. If you have a social media account, you are an entrepreneur. Know that immediately. Get out of the fact that you posting these pictures for your food and all that. You are an entrepreneur. So once you understand that you're an entrepreneur because you have a social media account, then your whole value system of how you look at yourself and present yourself should change.
It should shift. Oh, that's very interesting. Especially redefining what fame means. What have you redefined in this industry?
I think that I remember I was being honored at this personal managers Hall of Fame, and William Shatner's manager got up, and I'd never met him, and because each one of us had an opportunity to speak, and there was a lot of really really powerful managers there, and he said, I don't know Rushion McDonald, but he said he took a black comedian and crossed him over. He said that was unprecedented. I mean, he said, yes, you've seen the Bill Cosbys of the world, but he crossed him over from this lane of just 100% black audiences to a crossover appeal that's unprecedented. He said he created the word branding. And it was funny when he said that. I remember when I was sitting down with Steve Harvey because of my IBM days. I remember I told him, I said, why can't we treat you like IBM? Why can't we have the same rules for you and give you the same standards and give you a brand? And that's how it all started for me. But I didn't know at the time that I was doing that with Steve Harvey and that it was something that was unique that's now a term that people use all the time. But it was nice to be recognized or acknowledged that I had done something that had not been standard in the industry. And it was only an idea that I took from my working days at IBM. I felt that if IBM had rules of how their people should react around them or how people should treat them and standards, why can't an individual? And I felt that that should be the same thing with Steve Harvey. And that's what I started marrying him to various Fortune 500 talent clients like Ford, and one of the biggest ones was Disney. Once I locked them to Disney, that was important because that was the ultimate family brand, and I felt that if the ultimate family brand could tie themselves into to a comedian who had made his business as a very cussing uh, comedian and Def Comedy Jam and Showtime at Apollo, the sky's the limit, and his career has been phenomenal because of
Wow.
it.
And you've only since been creating multiple. It's almost like you figured out the formula. Like you said, you were good at patterns and
Yes.
understanding patterns, and it's like through that 16-year prowess working with his career, it's like you understood the pattern, and it's like now you got the formula, which is why you continue to crank them out.
Well, I don't know if I have the formula. I would tell you that I trust myself. I remember that, and people trust me, and I think that's the key. I think that you know, because that's why I want to avoid the word formula because it's tied to trust. It's tied to what is your case studies. I remember when I started managing Stephen A. Smith, and he'll tell you, he said, Rushion, I didn't even care about my brand. You make me care about my brand because I started saying, brother, your brand's important. It's what people think about you. We just can't have this ugliness on your social media. Again, because he's one of those authentic guys. You say, I don't care. This is me. I want to be. I said, no. At some point, there are people out there that can damage your brand, and you can't allow people to do that willy nilly. And he went, you're right. And so, just like any major company will do a cease and desist, well, a cease and desist on social media is a delete, is a hide that post. That's what a cease and desist is in social media.
Mm-hmm. So I know that a lot of people now admire you. Who do you admire?
That question's been asked about me several times, and I guess I, really nobody, and I would say that in an arrogant manner because I just I am a lot of different people. I constantly trust myself. I think that I have a unique way of thinking. Sometimes that has gotten me in trouble, and but it still has paid off in dividends because of the fact that. So I've been told that I should. It's a lot of people out there that are similar to me. I should sit down and talk to. I shouldn't use the word lot. It's people out there that are out there that have similar success stories that are unique like me. That'd be great if we sat down and talk. But I know that in my life, I have made a difference, and I think that's really cool. And as I sit here and do this interview, I sometimes I go, I kind of know why you're talking to me and why I'm here talking, but I just know that this journey isn't over with. So it's kind of like, okay, I'll tell you this story, but guess what? It's going to change next week because I'm going to do something significant next week. I'm going to do something significant in January, in February, and March, because that's the way I am built. I've been thinking this way since I was 18. When I look back on my life, I've, I've been convincing people to, charging people $5 or $10 to go in the club. So I always knew how to convince people that I had value and that value cost, whether it was and so I never did events where it was free because I always felt that people who engaged in free activity never gave up anything. At least charge them $1. And I tell you, the mindset of I paid $1, I'm gonna get my dollar's worth sits in versus free. They disrespect the whole process and they're not there to achieve any sense of respect.
What has been your best investment so far?
Against my family. My family's been my biggest investment because of the fact that in the end, you know, you can be successful. You can be on your private jets. You can get your awards, but my family and the biggest problem is I haven't given my family the time that they deserve, and so and I'm doing that now, and I don't think it's too late. But I feel that in the end, my biggest investment has been my family.
I'm going to do a series of rapid questions to say the first thing that comes to mind.
Okay,
Life is better when.
younger,
When starting a new endeavor, the one thing you need is.
plan,
Wealth is.
success,
Time is.
money.
And you have a podcast, Money Making Conversations. Do you want to speak about that or how people can tune in?
Oh, Money Making Conversation Masterclass really is a show that I do live on WCLK campus we should say on WCLK, which is on the campus of Clark Atlanta University every Tuesday. It's a live show, 6 to 7 p.m. You can stream it, and on the 91.9 FM on the radio dial. And I tell people to listen and listen to what I talk, and I bring guests on, and you can call in and ask questions, and also get a share of life of how I think my journey is. And my journey and how it's tied to you. And really, when you look at the big picture, is that Money Making Conversation Masterclass is a conversation that allows you to listen in on success.
So how can they find out more about you if they wanted to see your social media or anything
But
like that? Best
just,
way to reach out?
just Google my name, Rushion McDonald. There's only one of us.
Any final words?
No, I'm good. I really am good. Thank you for allowing me to come on your show. Thank you for speaking to your audience. I hope they got something out of it. I like to believe they did because I have a pretty unique perspective. But I like to hopefully still they got something out of that could resonate with them. But I've been fortunate with an unusual name like Rushion McDonald. If you Google it, you'll find a lot of things going on about me. And if you do your research, I think that my life is unique enough that it can impact you in some way and something I've done, interview I've done, had, or a motivational piece of advice I've given to somebody because it is a life that has changed a lot of hands. And fortunately for me, I've been able to control every hand I went to.
And it's been a definite honor for me even reading about you through the years. So to finally get a chance, well, I was on your show when our hotel came out, but
Yes.
now to have the chance to be able to return the favor and you feature on mine, it's been an honor.
Well, when you hotel, that whole thing, I still marvel at, black people owning the hotel because, you know, we black people know about the clothes, they know about the shoes, they know about the house. Well, first they know about the car, then they know about the house. Now you talking about black people knowing about hotels and owning hotel, girl, I had to wrap my head around that. And it was because of the fact that it tells us how we are so back in understanding the possibilities of success. And so that's what social media brings to you. You're iconic in that sense that we can now see you as a star. So, we talked about social media earlier. That's where social media becomes a blessing because talent like you and what you're accomplishing can only be self-served in a positive way on social media. Tell your story, girl.
Well, thank you so much for joining us today.
I appreciate it. Anytime, Rushion McDonald. Okay.
You got it. Let's get it. Let's
Mhm.
go.